should be able to run an HVAC service truck with like $1,000 on the truck. The bigger you get, the more controls you have to put in. The biggest thing is cut off access. We find thousands of dollars a day in mistakes.
Just answer the phone is one of those phrases that's always easier said than done. I know it was hard for me in my business because the phone always rings while you're out in the field trying to get something done, or it's 8 p.m. and you're trying to get your kids to bed. Well, I have the solution for you. I'm extremely excited today to announce Quick Staffers, your go-to solution for building a high-performing, cost-effective customer service team. We are placing CSRs who have been pre-trained on proven home service SOPs and scripts, the same ones that Wilson and I use in our business. For a limited time, we're offering $500 off your initial placement costs for the first 10 signups. See link in the description below or head over to quickstaffers.com for more information.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
What's going on? We're back.
I feel good. Like we're going into 25. We're locked in on our targets. We've got clear budgets. We've got a bunch of process to help drive us there.
Sweet, man. I mean, this actually dovetails really nicely into what we wanted to talk about today is we, as part of our initiatives are going into 2025 is we need to, we did the crunch the numbers at our budget this year. We looked at next year and it came out that we are spending close to 34 to 35% of revenue on material. And so that's in some inefficiencies on jobs, you know, messing up and not utilizing correctly, bidding wrong, things like that, which we're working on. But we think a large portion of that is not having good data, right? We don't know what we don't know. And so how do we fix that? And what we're working on right now is going to a full PO system. And so I have some questions on like, what was implementation looking like for you? So we've just got 2,400 square feet of warehouse. It is empty warehouse. We're putting in shelving. We're doing co-signment with Ferguson. They are working with us directly to provide boxes, and we're going to use the scanning tool and all this kind of stuff. But there's a lot there that I'm trying to imagine and trying to build, but I don't know what I don't know. What was your first iteration of VMI before VMI? Like, what did that look like for you prior to you having an entire sales structure inside your actual business, a shop inside your shop that you don't own, which is super badass.
Yeah, it is cool. I need to do like another shop tour soon. We're doing a bunch of like interior decorations and walls and doing a bunch of cool stuff. So we tried warehouse a bunch of different ways. We've tried actually warehousing it, like barcode scanner, all that stuff. We did a consignment for parts. So there's a bunch of vendors out there, Wolverine Brass, local ones too, where they'll come in and be like, they'll come in weekly and count your parts basically, and then they'll just min max. So, okay, hey, you're at 10. Box here says you want 20. Yep. Here's 10 more. So we did that. We bounced all over the place, a lot of different processes.
And so, I mean, that's what we're trying to avoid is we want to put a system in place that can drive us from here until VMI, right? Like that's the goal at the end is if we can, sell Ferguson 2,500, 2,400 square foot of VMI that they can just provide for us, that would be amazing. But for now, like, I guess the question is, how do you view the PO system in general, and how did it start? And then how did it tie into the best functioning warehouse that you think could get you from, if you were to go back in time, if you can get you from point A to VMI now?
It's hard.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, and the big reason we ended up choosing VMI is like the investment of staff.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, is it is really hard to find and be able to afford like incredible warehousing staff that understands your business. And you're competing with all the wholesalers for that talent. And it's not cheap. Now, granted, you can have like sort of the quintessential retired plumber, retired HVAC guy, sort of be the parts guy. And that's probably how I would do it. If I was attacking this problem again, is I would go find somebody who didn't want to be in the truck anymore and ask him if he wanted a part-time job managing parts, because he understood them and he could understand how to, save costs and stuff. So that would be my first like inclination. Besides that, I mean, the big lesson with inventory is have as little as possible on hand.
Yeah.
And negotiate the hell out of it.
So maybe it'll be helpful that you could poke holes in what our plan is.
Okay, let's do it.
So our plan is, starting from a PO perspective, is we are planning on tying every single job to any single purchase. Because that's where we're having issues right now is, hey, we're missing some things. They're not tying in directly. They're not tying in service type, and we can't control it. So we created a system kind of based on yours where we have heating or HVAC install, HI, the job number, HS, the job number for service, and then P for all plumbing. And that's our plan initially. The tech uses Service Titan to enter in any kind of parts that they buy at the warehouses, utilizing the Service Titan system properly for special purchases. Then our dispatcher is going to also be who currently orders some parts. Yeah. She will be ordering parts and then entering the PO system through Service Titan correctly there as well. And then in terms of truck stock, we are going to create a location that is going to be our warehouse. And we have a list of truck stock min-max, essentially like what the consignment does. And then the plumbers and HVAC guys will be responsible for filling their truck stock up directly from our warehouse. And then we can reorder it. And then we have one or two people here at the office managers mostly, who will be the ones who scan for that, because it'll be completely locked down. And that's what our plan is.
Sounds good to me.
To lock in everything, try to keep as little as possible, really just truck stock, and then a few different units now. So we'll store some units for weekend work, which we're really excited about. We have water heaters and stuff, but we don't actually have HVAC units. So we're going to really try and push to get some HVAC units in here. That'll be huge. Like just the what we normally
the immediate availability is good. Yeah. I think the big thing, like the bigger you get, the more controls you have to put in. And the first thing, you already talked about it, but like centralizing purchasing and not allowing purchasing. So, when we first implemented our PO structure 4 years ago, same thing. But then the next step was we communicated with every vendor. If this comes without my class code, PO structure, I'm not paying your invoice. I don't care. Someone's probably stealing from me. Someone's buying on our account. And then we locked it down and we enabled only 2 or 3 buyers, like me, our purchaser, one of our managers.
Was that an approval thing where they called you to approve that PO?
No one could place an order.
Okay, so everything had to be on will call from the few people.
Here's the approved buyers. Here's our approved PO system.
Yeah.
If you don't follow these 2 things, I'm not paying your invoice. So we just set that up as an autoresponder for bill.com. So you email us your invoice and you get an automatic response. Hey, here's my PO structure. If it doesn't say this, I'm not paying it. Here's reminding you, here's our approved buyers. If it's not them, I'm not paying it. Like somebody else bought it. I didn't approve of this purchase. And then usually once you kick back a couple invoices, they get it pretty quick.
Yeah. The crazy thing about this, and I challenge anybody out there who's our size, sub 5 million, really dig in on your POs from your vendors, because everybody makes mistakes.
It's painful.
We went ahead and did this exercise starting in like June, and we found like $60,000 in stuff that either was repeat or wasn't us.
Yep.
Kind of wild, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like I was blown away. Like $60,000.
We find thousands of dollars a day in mistakes today, like right now, every single day, thousands of dollars a day. And it can be, so like now we're actually in the same process as you. We're just like down to the next couple steps, which is like, what's our receiving process? We didn't have one. So like someone would make $1,000. This is an actual error that I'm about to say.
Yeah.
We got billed for 2 parts at $500 a piece. I got the invoice. I'm like, what's going on here? This is weird. Because I was personally approving them as I tried to understand the problem like a month ago. And I go back there and I find out that there was refrigeration caps. So like $3. They billed us for refrigeration canisters, $500. They gave us the caps. They didn't give us the canisters. So we got overbilled by $975 or something like that. Just random mistake, just on a Tuesday. And any day of the week, you can just find thousands of dollars of errors. And then you just have to kick it back. Hey, this is wrong. Hey, this is wrong. Hey, this is wrong. Why is this price the way it is? That's the next thing is we're finding like 1,000% markups on screws, and we're just kicking it back. And, hey, we'll return it or you can change your price. Let us know. But yeah, that's the process we're in. So that never goes away.
Yeah. I think the big thing is like just starting it, right? Because just getting something in place to try and get the lowest hanging fruit, which is where we're going to now. And
the lowest hanging fruit is reducing the number of buyers. Like that is it. Because when we first did that, our material expense dropped 2%. Because what would happen is guys would go to whatever shop they liked, unnegotiated pricing. They would fill their truck with stuff that they used earlier that day. And it was just like, buy whatever you want. It's Home Depot,
That was going to be my next question, but we'll get there in a second.
So this was 2 or 3 years ago. We just turned off all buying. Like text, you can't buy, period. Got to call it through the purchaser. We will call it in. And that's the approved buyer thing.
Yeah.
But shutting off buying to field was very important because they always bought 2 of everything. Yep. So, hey, I want 2 of this. I want 5 of this just in case I need an extra one. And then suddenly you've got $30,000 rolling around on a truck.
I was just going to say, man, we just cleaned out a truck and it had so much money of just unutilized
painful
O-rings and wax rings and screws that have never been used and something for like commercial jobs or for new residential installation going. We needed 2 of these and we bought 2 boxes of these.
Yeah.
At $150 each. And it sounds silly, but that $30,000 in the truck, I mean, it's a lot. It adds up across every truck, especially as you scale.
Yep. Yeah.
And so shutting off purchasing, extremely important.
Important. I would say that's probably the biggest lever.
The number one thing.
Who is buying? And that lever doesn't go away. Like it just gets more complicated as you grow. But like even now, we're in the middle of your project. Like we're doing the same thing, which is kind of funny. We're just like a step or two, a different step, but like same problem. So we're now centralizing our because our material purchases is pretty tight. Like we can gain a % or 2, but we catch a lot of problems. But where we're struggling is like OpEx, like random stuff just slides through. So now we're doing the same thing for managers. Like you can't buy anything. Even Brandon and I cut off our own credit card access because we were a part of the problem. We weren't going through like accounting to approve to make sure it's in budget.
And so when you talk about that, right? This inevitably opens this conversation about truck stock and like having the correct truck stock, because if they don't have the correct truck stock and you don't have build outs, I know for anyone who's listening, John has like these Milwaukee Packouts and each job has its own like beautiful organization and jobs are packed out prior. But like
our managers did a great job. I had nothing to do with it. They really ran with that.
Good job, Wilson managers.
Yes, thank you.
For listening. But from a smaller perspective, right? That's not always possible initially. So how was the first iteration of locking in truck stock and then making sure that was as little as possible, but still met the needs? And then to dovetail our last conversation, how did you cut off the auxiliary items? So like for maybe start with this one, but like Home Depot purchases, was it the same process? Approved managers only, even though it's not a will call scenario?
So that's like a credit card. So like our philosophy is, and we're getting deeper and deeper into this, but every dollar has to be approved because $2 million a month flows through our checking account. It is just too much money. And there are, I don't even know, like tens of thousands of transactions a month. Yeah. Like it's a lot. So what you have to do is you have to create these rules where just like our credit cards will literally not work without being sent money. So we use a credit card program called Divvy. And what we do is we set these, we call them assignable purchasing. So everyone starts off with a $0 credit limit. Like you can swipe that card 1 million times and it won't do a single thing. You have to send in via Slack. You have to request funds for the amount of money that you'd like to use. What's the use case? What's the job number? Same thing. Because credit cards are a big leaky ship.
Yeah, we shut all ours down early this year, so only 3 people have them, including myself. Because of that, we noticed the same thing: is credit cards leak. Went to Wex, got rid of that and so like that's been all better. So that's pretty neat, though. Divvy sends like approvals to release funds on credit. Okay,
like it's literally like if it's a $25 part at Lowe's, you're requesting funds.
Okay.
Manager's going to approve it, but it's another set of eyes. It's not like Wendy's.
Yeah, because I mean, right, that's going to be a purchasing manager. It's still purchasing that,
right?
But they need to get it approved first for that job.
Yeah, I think the number one rule of purchasing is like the less people, the better. Ideally, 1.
Yeah,
like that's it. How do you consolidate your buying down to like 1 person? And I remember this. There's this book. It's How to Double Your Profit in 6 months or Less by Bob Pfeiffer. Top 5 favorite book.
Number 1. Oh,
I love it. Yeah. It's a great book. But one of the chapters, which we're probably going to do this for Q1. So like fair warning to anybody who's listening to this, but it's force anytime $1 has to get spent, force it to go through you personally, and they have to come in person and ask for it. And he's like, you'd be amazed how many requests for money just go away.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to have people ask, make sure they can come up with the reason why, substantiate that spend, and have an approver and then oversight over that approver.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, all that really starts with, like you said, removing the ability for text to purchase.
Yes.
Make it go through really a few people. And then stage 2 is to take that and then even give it another approval process on the back end of that. Okay. So then moving into truck stock, right? So if we're taking away the ability for the team to buy what they need, when they
whatever
need, whatever they want, what was the initial process you used to, I mean, because I'm sure truck stock for you generally changes day to day, month to month, year to year. What is your initial idea on building your first truck stock list? How was that done?
We're about 8 months into using Avoca, and Avoca's been an awesome partner for us in our call center. So what Avoca does for us is they do 2 different things. One, they have their Coach product, and Coach has been helping us do what it says. Coach our CSRs every single day. It listens to every call and uses AI technology to basically pick apart that call and tell us where we can improve. And for the last 8 months, we've been consistently improving our scores, which has been awesome. The other product they have is just conventional booking. And it's an AI tool that books over the phone. A customer calls in and it either handles overflow, as in our phones are full, or it does nights and weekends for us. And a customer will call in and actually deal with an AI agent all the way through booking. And the savings inside call center has allowed us to ramp up our marketing to continue to grow even more. Thank you, Avoca, and thank you, Tyson, for your partnership.
There's easy ways and complicated ways to do this. I personally vote for easy.
I love easy.
And I do not think that we have this nailed down, by the way. I think that we're probably further along than you are. I think that we're a year away from being perfect at it. We spent this whole 2024, like our first Packout for a job. And a Packout's like, it's a Milwaukee kits. It's a kit basically.
Yeah.
So, hey, every time you want a furnace, you grab this kit and it has everything you could need for it. Our first one went into practice January of this year. So we've had a year to perfect the Packout system. Mm-hmm. Next year, we're really pushing hard on truck stock. So the purpose of Packouts is that you don't have truck stock.
Exactly.
Like that is
that works only for
them.
install. That like works for install, and even works.
You
for
can do service Packouts.
Plumbers. But how do you do how do you do an HVAC service Packout? Walk me through that.
So the way that we are not very far into this.
Okay. I won't hold you to it.
2025 is when this is happening. It's done in plumbing and electric. It's not done in HVAC.
That's what I was going to say, because the HVAC seems like it's the difficult child here.
I don't think so. To me, it's all the Packout system, and you just change how you do it. So we actually started removing shelves from vans because I don't think that you need empty shelves, and your shelves should be empty because you shouldn't have truck stock anymore. So we started pulling shelves, and then we started setting up truck stock Packout kits.
Okay.
So it's an A/B bin system where John has bin A and B, both dedicated to John's truck. And on Monday, I have bin A. I trade it in. Tuesday, I grab bin B. You refill bin A, and you keep it lean. And maybe it's $1,000 per box, so you've got $2,000 dedicated to that truck. But that is the current plan. So we want mobile truck stock, because I think truck stock gets much harder to manage when it's literally on the shelf versus I can wheel it off and on every day.
Okay, so then how do you balance then? Because I mean, I like the theory behind that, right? The theory behind that is you keep it lean. The team's doing what they're supposed to. You know, you're not losing anything to inventory. But where you have a potential for loss is how do you balance the amount of truck stock you have and the need for the technician now to run back and forth to the shop, because
parts runners.
Okay, so the answer
or the assignable purchasing budget. Like if they need something, you request funds on your credit card and you go to Home Depot.
Yeah, because that's where I was going, is like even to say, take that step further. So that, I mean, I would assume in a Packout there's a condensate pump and things like that. But like where I'm getting at is more, and I'm saying this, and as I'm saying this, I'm realizing like I ran in a van a couple months ago, like November, that big freeze we had. I ran for 2-3 weeks, ran some calls here and there. And I'm saying this knowing that I know the answer, but you know, I think what it comes back to, and where we keep getting caught up personally, is like the need for rescue motors and the need for, okay, rescue blower this size, rescue blower that size, rescue top fan motor this size, rescue top fan motor that size. And once you get through like all of those potential parts, like it becomes a really big list. That being said, the amount of times that I've needed an actual rescue blower is so minimal compared to the times that I've actually used them. So, you know, I think that the answer is we're planning for the inefficiency when it's not a real issue.
Yeah, I that's our belief. So we think that you should be able to run an HVAC service truck with like $1,000 on the truck.
I think that's probably it's going to be a bunch of capacitors. It's going to be some contactors, surge protectors.
Yep.
But realistically,
we put a humidifier on each truck. We put some air scrubbers.
But
everything else is going to, you know, we're going to order it for that job. We don't, we're going to start putting some universal stuff on there, but like our feeling is HVAC is custom order. So why am I burdening my balance sheet with random stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And as someone, you know, I've been in this business for a long time. I've owned it for almost 9 years. And the amount of antiquated HVAC stuff that I've thrown away off the shelves is sickening.
I'm also looking into my shop at some antiquated HVAC stuff that we bought years ago that it just sits.
Oh, yeah. It just sits, doesn't do anything. I mean, I've just given it away. I've thrown it away, tens of thousands of dollars. So, yeah, we really just don't like stock.
I mean, I think it's a good thing for everybody to hear, because it's one of those hard ones that we like to collect and we like to build up stock to be able to have everything for efficiency purposes. Because HVAC, I mean, whether we like it or not, is most of the time emergency business. It needs to be done. It needs to be done now. So then how are you dealing with weekend load then, right? Because that's going to end up, you just started doing weekends. The VMI, my guess is your VMI is closed on weekends. Right. So how are you handling then that truck stock for off hours?
Well, we'll stage it. So if we know there's a weekend install, we stage the Packout kit. So that's just back to Packout kits. And then if somebody needs a part over the weekend, they'll either go to Home Depot and request funds, or they'll pull it and we have cameras and they'll just, you know, tell us what they pulled.
Yeah.
But that's not as common as you'd think.
So, yeah, and that's the other thing is it ends up, once again, I'm still planning for something that's very low probability.
Yeah, I mean, the truck stock handles most of it. Home Depot handles the rest.
Don't make it so simple, because then I feel dumb when you make it simple. It's like, Jack,
I think I think the reality is that it can be simple. Now, truck stock, I'll make you feel better. Chris Hoffman, 100 $80 million doesn't feel like he has a handle on truck stock.
Yeah, they also have
his
massive
words.
trucks.
Right. So like it is a complicated problem.
Yeah.
And my solution to the problem is telling the problem to go fuck itself and have mobile truck stock so I don't have the problem. But that's the same approach. I don't know if that's scalable, but that's what we're planning on doing. And it's the same approach that we took to warehouse. Hey, warehouse is really complicated. I could spend a ton of time trying to solve the problem face value, or I could avoid the problem completely by having VMI and have a different set of issues.
Yeah.
And we've tended to choose like what's the highest and best use of my energy, and learning how to run a great warehouse isn't it.
Yeah. Which
with truck stock, like I did see somebody doing truck stock incredibly. And it was Apollo down in Cincinnati, 40 million, maybe $38 million shop, big shop. And it was a huge expenditure of resource, like absolutely huge to maintain incredible truck stock. And at the end of the day, I roughly feel like they had slightly better control than I do with my structure.
Did they do it where like each truck is its own little mini warehouse and they all dedicate it? Yeah. So that was the way I've seen it as well. And we were thinking about going
it's
down
too complicated
that road. And I said, this is too much. I can't. I started entering it in service time. I go, the repercussions of having to utilize, I get better visibility on each truck, but not by that much.
Yep.
Because I would get the same from being able to pull the same report of just the warehouse and who pulled it versus which truck. But that being said, I mean, honestly, and then the unspoken thing, which we haven't talked about yet, is we've started running HVAC service, one truck out of a Maverick with a bed, with a, not a bed cap, but like what do you call those? It's not, I guess it is a bed cap.
Yeah.
It's not the flat one.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started running Mavericks.
Did it work?
Yeah. I mean, we put a cap on it and a pull-out drawer.
Okay, see, I told Brandon the other day, I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I can put HVAC service. Oh, he's gonna hate this. Because like
the one downside,
my goal is I never want to buy another van.
Yeah, I agree.
Trucks only, like they're $20,000.
I told you I ran around in the van for those 3 weeks and I didn't use anything out of the back, John, for service. I used nothing. I pull out, I have a box that I keep all my stuff in, all the individual pieces and parts and my tool bags and everything like that. I didn't use anything.
Dude,
so the way we have it set up is we have all of the tools in the back seat. So they're locked up in the back seat. They're torches, recovery machine, vacuum pump, handbag. It all fits in that back seat when you lift it up. And then in the back, there's a big rollout drawer that carries all the small stuff. And then on top of that is all the kind of little bit slightly larger stuff. One downside is it won't fit a coil. That's the big thing. Is like if you have a big coil or something like that, won't fit. So the Mavericks can't do like the coil replacements or anything like that. Evaporator coil, yes. Condenser coils, no. That's where it stops. And then the techs are forced to keep their vans clean because it is very small. So I loved it though. Like those trucks, one, great gas mileage, the hybrids. We bought 5 this year and we'll probably buy a few more next year as we start and then the vans have been gone to all the installers. So they can pull decent size equipment with it.
Pickups for service guys is the ultimate hack. I pitched Brandon.
You guys are doing the Rangers, right?
We're doing Rangers. We're doing Tacomas. But then I found out the price of Mavericks. Well, we couldn't get a hold of Mavericks.
$15K less.
We couldn't get a hold of them when we were doing all this buying because they just weren't available, but they're available now. So we're planning on bringing on 10 vehicles next year, maybe 15. And every single one of them was going to be a Maverick. And just like, because dude, I can buy 10 vehicles for like $250,000.
Yep.
Like we're going to do it in cash. Like if we can do Mavericks, I'm literally done buying vehicles with debt.
So cool thing too is the Maverick platform, like the same engine, same body, same everything, not body, same everything platform wise, they're putting a van body. So it's going to be like the back to the cities, like the transit cities.
Yeah.
So they're essentially doing that with it here in the next year or so. But I love the Maverick platform. It has been a great truck for us. We have not had any issues with it. They're very reliable.
Yeah.
Great gas mileage. So we're excited. So we'll probably end up pre-ordering a few of those cities and see if that's some kind of good in between. But honestly, the trucks have been solid themselves. Hiller bought like freaking 150 of them or something stupid like that in our area.
Vans are
There's
60
so
grand.
many.
Vans are $60,000
for the price of
you
one.
You can
van.
literally buy 3 Mavericks for the price of one.
Yep.
Yeah. So our like we're buying 10 to 15 vehicles next year. Every single one of them was going to be a Maverick. Or the other one is Chevy Trailblazers.
Trailblazers?
I just bought 3 for 23 grand.
One second. I'm going to Google
like
that.
Like brand new 2025.
Oh, that's like a SUV. Who's that for?
Salespeople.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Might put some text in there.
But why wouldn't you just, what's the cost on that? Why wouldn't you just get a Maverick? So all of our salespeople and the service guys, we just don't put bed caps on the salespeople's Mavericks.
Well, because these were $7 grand cheaper
than the Maverick.
I got Mavericks for like $23,000 brand new.
So what was the Trailblazers?
Oh, sorry. I got the Trailblazers for 22, 23.
Oh, that's
Mavericks. I think are
Mavericks
27.
are like 25 to 28.
Yeah.
And that's a hybrid. But if you get like the non-hybrid, I think you can get them for all 25.
Yeah.
But anywho,
I'm gonna buy so many Mavericks next year.
Okay,
dude.
so
I'm about to text Brandon.
Yeah, remove purchasing from all employees except a few dedicated. Implement a PO system that ties directly to every single job so that you can track all money inflow outflow to jobs. Put in the PO system numerical, whatever the code that you want them to utilize, lock that in with your vendors, all of them, so that you can track between multiple departments if you ever plan on going multiple departments, because that was one of the issues we ran into. Mm-hmm. But even in HVAC, dividing service from install, I think is important so that you can do individual job costing as a department.
Yep.
Or gross margin job costing as a department. And then remove as little stock as possible and put it back onto the vendors as much as possible so that you're not a warehousing company. You are a service residential company.
Yeah.
Sound about right?
And like, and VMI is becoming like much, much more mainstream. Like there's a vendor locally to us and they're putting VMIs, like full blown staff VMIs in like $4 or $5 million shops. And the idea for them is they own that contractor now. Like,
which is true.
Yeah. They just got that entire account. Like it's such a slam dunk. So any growth that ever happens with that business, like all of it will go to them basically, which is what we've seen too. Like we've centralized into our VMI. And we did an end of the year sort of review with our vendors a couple days ago. I used to have to manage like 40, 50 vendors. There were like, 3 or 4 big ones that got the lion's share, but like 40 or 50 total. I literally manage 3 right now. Like I manage 3 vendors and it is awesome.
From an HVAC perspective, like you still have to manage some spend to all the vendors, right? Because there's certain ones that run certain brands.
Like a couple $100 a month.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure that we're clear on that. I was going to say, how do you do that?
Yeah. No. So we have 2 vendors at $250,000 a month each.
Yeah.
And then we have a third vendor at like 50. And that's basically like what we manage. And then we have a few vendors here and there for like under $1,000. But it really got very easy to manage and negotiate and handle that relationship. It's very hard for a wholesaler to find $250,000 a month account.
Oh yeah. I 10 years ago, that was somebody's yearly spend, not even
right. Right.
So now they're able to
So yeah, a lot of vendors will bend over backwards regardless of size.
Sweet. Am I missing anything? Any advice? Any big silver bullets when coming into this build of making sure my PO system's correct and that my inventory's correct?
Nope. The biggest thing is cut off access. That will always be the biggest win, and don't pussyfoot with it.
Yeah, no, I honestly, it's like being given permission to do that feels so nice. Like I know it's going to be a headache, but at the same time, like
for 2
weeks, a huge load off my heart.
Because I know 2 weeks, technicians will complain, but then it's just like, guys, the reason I'm doing this, I brought example invoices. The reason I'm doing this is this, and this, and this. You bought 4 times too much on this invoice. Do you know where that comes from? Me. Like, so I think Yeah, I think it's easy to explain. And also the total amount starts if we displayed the total amount. Because when we first did it, we're like, hey, just so we're on the same page, our overages for stuff that we did not need on jobs last month was $60,000. $60,000
to do.
Then we brought up a couple examples of like egregious purchasing. And the joke is called jackets and lollipops. People bought a heated jacket on our account, like a Milwaukee $300 heated jacket.
Yeah.
And then they bought these like $5 lollipops. So
The
the rule
Depot?
Yep. So the rule became jackets and lollipops. Hey, if you want to know why we did this, jackets and lollipops. Some asshole bought a $300 heated jacket on my account. We took it out of his paycheck, but we sliced like no one can access purchasing now.
That's a lot, but I mean it's I don't see any other way through it because that's like I said back to the beginning, 35% in materials way too high. If we would have reduced that by 5%, we would have had last year an extra a few $100,000 in the bank account that we don't currently have. And thinking back to that, amazing. That would be just absolutely amazing to have today. So we're moving forward at starting the 1st. Very excited. I mean, we can update people at the end of next year how it goes, but pumped, man.
Sweet. If you like what you heard, check out ownedandoperated.com. Make sure to give us a 5-star review wherever it is that you listen to shows, and tune in next week.
April. We have a workshop in April.
Oh yeah. We have a workshop. Yeah, this will be our 3rd workshop.
Yeah, if you want to see John's shop, which is super cool, and see those packouts, and John really opens it up to everybody to take pictures of his packout lists. Yeah, and it's very, very open and very helpful for a lot of people to get to actually see this in process. I mean, the only reason I'm doing well with how I imagine it is because I've seen John's shop working and actually working. So April workshop, check it out on the website. Hopefully we'll see you there, and listen to us next week.